won't roll the show out yet. We're just gonna. Yeah, you have been on fire, man. I saw like three yesterday, and I showed Morgan. I'm like, man, Grace is on fire.
Yes. When it's happening, I'm just bombarded, so I have, no choice than just, you just have to do it, just things that wants to come through. And so I'm full pumped up, or whatever you call it. So you just
And you've been writing a lot about, well, we're going to talk about it. I don't want to give it away, but and I thought that was interesting because you've been writing a lot about let me share this to the page. What do you want to call it? What's her name?
Yeah, basically
Victoria. Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, it's about divine union, and it's about the 144,000. But it's in the end, it's very much about the monadic energy, which is coming up for all of us now.
Yes.
I mean, to the postings I've written, I've just got so many personal messages from people are telling me, wow, this is exactly my experience. And either they are frustrated or they are just, wow, they are just, too good to be good, so mostly it's either one or the other. Yeah. So,
I want to talk about it because I think there's some, I think we just need more clarification on it. Everybody does. I mean, even with Morgan and I, we don't really, I don't know, man, it's getting weird. It's hard. I got to really choose my words, but we're learning is how I would put it. We're actually showing up every day. Let's say that there's a template's been given to us, like many templates been given to us. Let's say one of the templates is sacred sexuality, sacred union, the stuff that you're talking about. But it's like every day we come and show up and we find out what to do by attempting to do whatever, I mean, it's that's kind of what we got, but we're getting a lot of constant assistance from what I would have to say is monad energy, and not just one, but there seems to be three now. 36. There's one, I guess you would say, well, like I don't know if you would say it would be mine. One is hers. And then there's one they shot us up to after our first physical Herios Gamos experience. They shot us up there. And what happened was, I think it was the next night or the night after, one of them stepped up and started speaking to us and said to us, I am the essence of the both of you.
Yeah.
Unseparated. In other words, both of you, you're speaking to both of you.
Yes.
So that was really powerful. So
because that's exactly what's about. From this Herios Gamos, this divine union within, you give birth to this Trinity. Actually, Father, Mother, Holy Spirit, whether Father, Mother, Child, whatever you want to name it. And but the thing is, which I would just like to talk about my experience also, because when I went to Ireland, and I met Stella and her beloved. And we wasn't really prepared for it. We knew that we soul monad, because it's just so clear, it's just, you see the other one, and I mean, there's so many synchronicities, and though you're different on many points, you're just so freaking similar, that you just have to laugh. You just have to laugh. This is too much.
I read a post this morning as I'm drinking coffee. This cool sister, Ashley Simone, and she writes like from a street vernacular, which I really resonate with. And anyway, she was saying something like, "Man, this twin stuff is trippy, man. Like the merging is so." It's so integrated at such a deep level. She said, she was basically saying that she was taking on characteristics of him, and he was taking on characteristics of her. Right.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Look, I'm going to read this to start the show out, and we always have a great time with Grace. Maybe we can try to convince her to disappear like she did on the first show. We've been trying to get that moment back. Somebody mentioned that to me. I think it was Susan Marie on the show the other day. She's like, we're all going to end up being like Grace on the show where she disappeared.
Yes.
So
I think that was really a pure demonstration.
Sure it was. Yeah.
What is happening? You know, if we can really see with the third eye, you know, the radiance, you know, that we are in, that we are all in. It was really, you know, demonstrated for the naked eye to see. You know, for all those that that needs to see.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. And there's been other stuff happen, but I still got to say that's probably the most intense one.
I haven't seen myself neither before or either, so I was exactly as freaked out as you were.
Okay, so let me just say to everybody, we have a great day today. We got 3 great shows today. Luke Elijah's coming on, Patrick McCormick's coming on, and I might even jump on because we got an event that's building up here in Kauai. That's next Saturday, and I'll be talking about that. And we'll be streaming live and also performing locally. And so it's going to be something that I've been seeing for a long time, and I'm excited about it. We're excited about it. So thank you everybody for joining us. If these shows resonate, please share, help us stay above the algorithms on Facebook. We do appreciate it. And we do appreciate your love and support and contributions that keep us going every day because we couldn't do it without you. And that's all I can say about that. Now, Grace has been on a tear lately writing about this subject. And I think we need some clarification on, all of us do. We don't understand it all. We don't have a rule book. We don't have an owner's manual. So I'm going to read this one little short piece that she put out on the 29th, calling the beloved's twin essence of one within all. How long are you going to settle for what is less, which is a reflection of your lack of self-love, of your trust and love? Throw it overboard, be bold, be free, and reclaim your divine sovereignty, your divine innocence. Make right of what is wrong. Heart knows and shows you the path. It is laying as a golden carpet in front of you. Enter the temple of unity and step into freedom's joy of what your heart always craved for and knows to be true. Stop sabotaging love. Allow your soul full commandment of your soul's path to materialize through the divine surrender of your heart. How much heartache is still to be overcome of self-inflicted pain because of reluctance and self-denial of true love becoming manifest through divine union with that, which is intrinsically part of who you are. You are the king and the queen, united as one. Do you let him in? Do you let her overcome your fear of not being enough? You contain all in the sacred chalice of your heart. Never were you separated, nor shall you ever be. Return to the garden, beloved, for all is one. Now, I would just have to warn everybody, if you're going to be reading Grace's stuff, you might want to go into a private room somewhere because it makes me want to take my clothes off. No, but it's a broad subject because it involves divine union within yourself, the potential or reality of divine union in the physical matter, incarnated, which is mind-blowing. And then you mentioned the Trinity and the third energy, which, as I understand it, because Morgan's been downloading this sacred union stuff for many, many years, like 10, 15 years ago, she began with it. Herios Gamos, the whole 9 yards. Well, as I start to understand it, this triad, this Holy Trinity, which is formed by initially within ourselves, creating a third energy. But when we're doing it incarnated, which to me is the whole trip that we're on, which we're actually gods and goddesses down here playing in physical matter and then applying magic to it, which is kind of where we're at now. So this third energy is created. It creates this triad that starts spinning this frequency of the purest love incarnated between 2 or more people. All right. And then that frequency seems to light up other people. We have seen 2 instances, and actually 3. Somebody told me yesterday that they kind of think that our energy created their union. And then we have two other friends were around the same time being around us. I don't know. I'm not saying that we caused it, but it sure looks that way. And I'm just using that as an example. So I guess what I'm trying to say in conclusion is that this energy is a palpable energy. It's physical matter. It also has the etherical thing. It's the non-physical and the physical merging, creating this new frequency of pure love of old into the earth, and like the most simple core of the equation, I guess, in the expansion from duality to trinity. So I'm here to learn. What can you teach us?
Well, you all know it. We all know it. It's what our heart, that's what we've always wanted and known to be true. And it's something not to attain. It's something which is already intact. It's just a matter of having it activated. But this trine energy, which you have also noticed now, it's really, you know, when we have achieved this divine union within, when we have united all polarities within, and we have embraced, accepted, assimilated all aspects, all shades of our human self and of our cosmic galactic self, angelic selves, whatever have presented itself, because, you know, we all, you know, so if you have to integrate it all, I mean, those aspects that are important for our now moment, for our soul purpose at this time, they will present themselves. So it's really about when, and then we then have achieve this divine union within, between the divine feminine and masculine, which many people have worked at it as at healing all these feelings of not being enough. You know, we have been seeking the wrong places. We've been seeking on the outside, you know, to you know, for our other half, and to, like, if we're already seeking out of lack, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, until you realize, until you embrace yourself and really say, wow, you know, I'm not lacking anything. I'm the mother, the father, the child. I am everything. I can be the mother to myself, the father, the child. I'm my own nurturer, my own beloved. And when you can really then fall in love with yourself, yes.
Yeah.
And then all these energies, the divine feminine and masculine, they can merge within, and it's really a chemical process, alchemical process that really ignites the Kundalini energy, you know, and it travels up and ignites the pineal gland, you know. And so this get reinforced, these energies. So there are many on the planet now that have actually come to this point, you know, they have worked at it and accomplished this divine union within, either being on their own, because it doesn't matter. Actually, sometimes it's even easier if you're on your own. So you could be in a relationship or you could be on your own, but you have embraced the beloved within. You have come to a space of self-love, self-acceptance of all aspects of self. So then you achieve this divine union, and you, out of this divine union is born this the trine energy, you may say. A child is born, so it's father, mother, child, or father, mother, Holy Spirit, whatever names you give to it. Okay. But this time now that many people are feeling this, it's like a magnetical pulling. You start, you know, soul family, the monadic, the soul monad, members of the soul monad, they're starting to show up. Yes. They have done previously, but now it's really massively.
Let's talk about that, but I want to make sure and give a living example, because of one thing you just said. And okay, so I've talked about it. We talked about it. So we had physical Herios Gamos probably about 6 weeks ago for the first time, and it just happened. The sacred sexual vibration journey, sacred sexual journey, is freaking. It's just mind-blowing. It's off the chart. You can't even think of anything. You show up and you literally don't know what to do, and it just takes over, like your higher self.
It takes over, yes.
But what I was gonna say is, so we had that. We talked about it a little bit, and then we've had a few other episodes of it. and nothing's the same ever. But the first time we had it, we received, I think Morgan received 2 messages from 2 different divine feminines, and it was the next day. And just bear in mind, just for the example, the first hour we just held hands like this,
Yes.
as we often do. We connected as we often do. We both went through a process of surrendering. There was nothing said between us, but we were experiencing. She went first. Each time we surrendered, soulgasm, orgasm, whatever you want to call it. There was no touching, there was nothing. Then it went on.
Yes, yes.
Now, the reason I'm saying that is because a couple of people reached out to her and said, "You'll never guess what happened to me." Now, they did it by themselves. But the point I'm trying to make is it happened at the same time.
Yes.
Which tells me that collectively that energy became available at that time, give or take, right? So these 2 women had the same thing happen to them, went through a process of surrendering just like we did side by side, and had an orgasmic, soulgasmic, sacred sexual experience. So you're right. I just want to make that point.
That's because, yes, exactly. And that's so interesting that you experience that, because I have this experienced also when I had, it was actually back in 2013, where I merged with one member of my soul monad. And it was, again, we were not touching at all. And we weren't even in a romantic relationship, but there was such deep soul love. There was so much respect. It's just, I mean, there's no words to it. There's just no words. And at that time, there was actually this trine part of it that I've seen now in the rear mirror, that she was there and she could feel our orgasm and felt it also too, the cosmic, blending, the merging. Yes. And that's the thing. In this case, even when somebody don't know that others are going through it, because you're soul monad, you're so connected, others will feel it and they will get activated at the same time. Those that are really open, that are ready, they will feel it, whether they're sitting in Kauai, whether they're sitting in Iceland, or whether they are sitting. You're just so intrinsically, you're part of each other. So when one twin couple or whatever you call them, 2 beloveds come together and merge within the soul monad, within the monadic field, others will be activated, and it will be the ones that are, of course, most close to you energetically, vibrationally, because it's like these trines, they add up to the 144. So it's like 3, 6, 9, 12, and then there's 12 of those pair that is contained in the whole soul monad of 144 souls.
So what is can you just tell us what you know about what is a soul monad, and what is its place in the sacred, the collective, the comprehensive sacred geometry of the universes? And could you also address what is the 144? Because everybody talks about that, and I hear all these different things. I mean, from your perspective of knowledge.
So it's actually when we leave source, right? Source is one energy, is one consciousness, if you like. It's beyond individual. So there's no personality, it's simply just energy. So then we choose to incarnate, then the soul splits up, because at least here on, I don't know, in this universe, I don't know about all the other million of universes, but I guess it would be the same. Then they split up in a male and female energy. Yes. Because of reprocreation, and that's, the universe, they are the female and male energy, sun and moon, the polarity. So they split up in 2, and that's, so when the soul wants to incarnate, it splits up in 2.
Right.
So, but this soul comes from, okay, before it splits up into two, it's actually the 144 is the soul group. You may see it as the soul group. So we incarnate as a soul group, and these are then split up in 12. So you could branches.
Yeah.
Per line. Yeah.
So 12 groups.
Yes.
In one family. All right.
Yes. And then again, you can see as a tractor, and then it come down to the triads, and then down to the individual soul, which has split up in two, in male, female. Right. I don't know if it makes sense. It's very difficult to explain these things.
No. But I see the math, and it falls in line with the whole 369 Tesla's 369. But yeah. And I think a lot of us have, I know when I first woke up, everything came as 12. 12 godfathers of the earth, 12 grandmothers, everything was 12,
Yes.
So
it's a sacred geometry of the universe, as Tesla already knew, right? And you see it in the pyramid, you see it in the old sacred geometry, there are 3 corners, right? And if you go from here, you come up to 1. If you go from there, you come up to 1. It always leads to 1. It always leads to the divine union, right? So the thing is that now at this time, because we're going through this ascension process, we have just reached a stage, right, where we are coming into this divine union. We have been propelled so much forward that now it's really so, because that's what ascension actually is about. We actually return to source, becoming one again, becoming one through the monadic field, still while we are embodied, right? We used to be needing to reincarnate and go through the karmic wheel, to really ascend back to source. Yeah, but now this is the first time on this planet where you can actually ascend and return to source, so to say, in the frequency, because it's actually the 144,000 is a frequency, if you like, of source, of the highest quintessence of Lord, of God, whatever you want to call it. Yes. So it's really returning back to that essence, still while we are in a human body, a human experience, experiencing ourselves as the highest, the quintessence of love, of being God creators. And that's really what this experience is about, that we have been granted this immeasurable gift of experiencing this here on this planet. Right.
And it seems like okay, so if we look at it at the ground level, the human is the hero, we're the one doing the work here, you know what I mean? Our consciousness is the dominant consciousness, or this aspect of our consciousness in this incarnation, in this vessel. So in like layman's terms, the way I see it, because we hear, we're all going through these things that we've been shedding: self-judgment, judgment of others, It's all about self-love. And as we increase our self-love, we increase it at the same time for anyone and everyone external. So, okay. So the way I see it, as you can't just flip a switch and all of a sudden you're in a Buddha state and you love everybody equally and you've got no problems. Nobody triggers you, all that, right? Like, that's just it doesn't work that way. So it makes sense to me, like in mirroring the sacred geometric building blocks of the universe, that we obviously start with 1, and we get enough alignment within ourselves that we then match up with that one. And that at a human level, because I can tell you, over the last 6 weeks since that Herios Gamos, that first Herios Gamos in the physical happened, we've had more and more occurrences. And then one night we had one where there was no nothing that looked like intimacy at all. We held the hands, and then I remember my eyes start vibrating like this. They're going, you know, and we're also, she was like coding in my hand, on her fingers. She was doing it on her heart, transferring it to my hand. My eyes start going like this. Our arms feel like they're one. And then all of a sudden, I don't know how to explain it, but like we just merged. It felt very physical. Now I'm her. And I'm looking through my eyes.
You're looking through her eyes.
Yeah, I was looking through her eyes and seeing me and seeing me.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but I was seeing me through her eyes, and I was seeing me. It was fucking weird, okay? And I was seeing me, how she loved me, how she looked at me, and I'm like, whoa, this is fucking weird. And then it went back to me looking at her. So these things are happening. And I guess what I'm saying is it makes sense to me that, because it's a big thing to reach that point with one person. I mean, you got to go through, you got to shed a lot of bullshit, and you got to be honest with yourself, and you mirror each other and have these conversations, and you don't take them personal, and you get to a certain point. But then to have that, carry that frequency, which I love what you're saying, is the 144 frequency. And then you go out into the world, whether you're together or whether you're apart, the things, the people and the circumstances and the situations that come across, you're able to come from this deeper place, more solid piece of unconditional love. You're able to tolerate more. You're able to maintain your balance more. And I think that's what that frequency is. And ultimately, we walk around, and each and every person we come across, we're able to merge instantly with, and everything. I mean, that's got to be where this is going, I would think.
And the thing is that when you have achieved this divine union within, and come into this frequency of the 144, I mean, it's not that you don't see, so you can say you have to transcend first. I mean, you can't transcend the human limitations, of self-inflicted, I'm not good enough, I'm not deserving of love, and guilt, shame, and all this stuff that we all had to look at. But you have to come into acceptance of all that, and to come into just embracing it and loving it, and to know, okay, these things came about because we have been maybe incarnating in toxic environments. We have been treated bad, by and put all sorts of projections. And then to realize, wow, this was a story. When I step beyond that story, when I step beyond that identity, that this whole story was created around, you become transpersonal in the moment that you come into acceptance, come into this place of self-love, and this divine union happens. Then you come into this divine love, and this frequency of the 144. It's transpersonal. It's transpersonal love, and that's when you can really start to serve. That's when you can really start to serve.
And I think that too, people need to remember, just like you brought up earlier, you can experience these things, and there is no right or wrong. There's like, say, more than one template that carries this frequency. What I mean by that is these women that contacted us without being solicited in any way, saying, hey, guess what happened to me last night? One of them actually, the night we had that first physical Herios Gamos, that same time, she actually broke a long-term relationship because she knew she had to. Then she had the experience we had as an individual. The other example I would give is there's quite a few people that I've talked to that have experienced the same thing, both with a physical person that was on the other side of the world, which would be the soul merging, the Herios Gamos. Oh my God, I felt her in my lower chakras. I felt her kissing my face, things like that. But also, there are people that I would have to think are aligning with that frequency that you call the 144, that are actually having a relationship with what seems to be a twin that's not physically incarnated.
Yes, absolutely.
The last thing I'll end with is someone told me that they're having this relationship with their twin that's not incarnated, who has told them that they're going to walk in to someone here to then couple. You know, so
exactly. I wrote about that. I don't know, a month back or so. That's also the information that I got, that there are a lot that will actually step in now through because they actually already so evolved, but they cannot continue from this same body for some reason. They have to go through a kind of reset to walk in, to then be in that higher consciousness level, to actually merge with their other part. So there will be a lot, and I mean, not to be worried, because many, they think about, you know, this classical way of walking. It was often through, you know, accidents or near-death experiences and such. But I have been given the information that that's not needed at all, but it can be triggered by, I mean, your world will be turned upside down in some way that will kind of reset you, right? But no matter how it will happen, it will be divinely orchestrated. There's nothing to be worried about. And then these souls can step in, because there are many that actually have this. Many of these beloved relationships are actually often, very often, first contact. It's happening on the higher planes of existence, or in dream time, whatever you want to call it. And you could have relationship for years, you have been knowing, but you can then feel, so, okay, you can then feel that if you're very sensitive, you can really feel that they're moving into these timelines now. They are starting to move into your timeline. So if you have had a relationship with your twin for a longer time now, it can even be for years, many will be experiencing this now, that you can really feel it, that they are moving. They are moving into your sphere now. They are coming into this timeline. And so when they are ready to connect and meet in the physical, they will then, it will be orchestrated by the soul, that they will actually walk in through other persons. So it's really something that is happening now, and there's so many people feeling it, whether they are showing up more strongly on the inner planes now, on the higher planes now, or whether you can just feel this, their presence. You can feel their presence, even whether you know them or not, but you can feel this strong love, and you can just, it's something that really goes in your high heart chakra, and you can feel this. It's like you're just being overwhelmed by this energy. And of course, if you're familiar with the soul signature of your beloved, you can immediately recognize it. So just speaking about these trines again, so I went to Ireland, just to share that experience. And I came over just to meet Stella and her divine counterpart, her beloved John, and we already knew that we are of the same soul monad. I mean, there's so many synchronicities, and we promised ourselves we must write it all up. It's just too crazy. It's just too crazy. You just freak out. It's amazing. So anyhow, so we knew that already, and then we met, of course, such deep love connecting us. And then while I was there, then we felt also this activation starting. And we saw suddenly that I was like this third part, the Trinity, And we actually started to merge. When I was over there, we went through this alchemical merging process. And so, and we were shown, and especially we all felt it, but it was like, so the twin flame couples, they will be, there's this third part that make it into this trine. They are more like a generator, or an incubator, you can call it, or a cauldron, but at the same time, the activator of that energy of all three of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one takes one particular, depending on your energy signature and your purpose, whatever. There will be one of them that's designated to do just that.
Yeah.
So you will ignite this the trinity within the others and within self at the same time, and this again will ignite, you know, the other trines, and then you come 3, 6, 9, 12, and so it's spreading into this. It's like a whole web. You're connected, and everyone feels it every time. One twin flame couple entwine, then they merge into one. The rest will feel it, and it will activate the others. So whether they are in a relationship or not, it will activate. So if say that if they haven't met their divine counterpart, at least that it will then ignite them, you know, into this Herios Gamos within themselves. The ones that have a partner already, they will ignite it in those, so that they have to have this Herios Gamos alchemical merging taking place. So it's so connected, and it's really, like like the thousandfold lotus that just one petal opens and the next and the next, and from each one opening, it triggers the other one to opening, you know. And
that's kind of sexy, man.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's a few comments here. Renata, our friend from Greece, she said that she received something dimensionally. Hers would be a walk-in. So we are multidimensional. Submerging with non-physical twins happens a lot. Tinel Bacana. Morgan says, I don't feel that Todd is my twin. I felt whole and complete myself before I met him. I feel we are two beings having a conscious relationship. We were able to agree at times to experience oneness.
Yes.
I honestly don't think anybody knows. It would make sense.
I don't think I was many years, I didn't use the word twins. I even transcended that. And so I use more the beloved. For to me, we are not here to meet our twin. We're here actually to connect with all that is, which we all already have within. When we get out of the way, yes. So it's really uniting all polarities and bringing all into our heart.
Yeah.
And so to me, there's no the one and only. A long time ago, I've let that behind, because if you are divine union, say you, Todd, you are embodiment of divine union. You're embodiment of all that is. You're my twin. You're my you're Jesus. You're everything, right? But of course, there are some souls that we have contracted with. That we will like to explore this experience, maybe as partners. But again, partners, attention. Partner. It's not father, mother, child, marriage, tra la 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 la. It's a unionship. It's not a relationship of playing father, mother, child. It's beyond the personal. We come together at this point as soul monad, as divine counterpart couples, to serve. Serve. It's about serving. It's not about this personal agenda of I want this, I want that. And so don't give about whether the personal preferences, whether you've got brown eyes or blue eyes, your culture, your gender, you can also, I mean, be of the same gender. Soul doesn't care about it.
No.
It's all about
Well, I think, and I think that,
vibrational alignment.
Yeah. And I think that and all I'm trying to say is that I don't think anyone really knows. And I don't think it really matters, because we have to use these words like twin. I don't normally use the word twin. I don't consider Morgan my twin. But at the same time, we always have to stay open. All of us have to stay open. How can you expand if you don't stay open? It makes sense to me that in the geometry of it, if you take it like an exhale was the Big Bang, and then you inhale, it all comes back, that at some point it's going to go 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Boom. So it makes sense. And if it's a moment in time, look, what is time? All time is this.
It's now.
10 seconds ago is gone. It's not here anymore, But so I think, and I love to hear these comments. And I think there's a lot of activity in the non-physical, and we can't forget that. So I was really trying to make this point, because I think people have gotten caught up in the program of a twin, and that builds that human type of yearning, which really has to be detached.
Which often is based on lack. There's so many.
Well, yeah.
Oh, so I met my twin, and then they're so fixed on the twin that they go into lack, and they are sad, and they are not interested in anyone because they never felt like that before, but they have still not come to a place of self-love, because otherwise they would be able to let go. Yes, that's what that's what true love is, unconditional love. You love them so much that you just wish the best. So, and you have that love within you. So you don't, there's no expectations. There's no attachments, that you have to be my twin because I believe that you fulfill me. We don't need no fulfillment from the outside. We already are whole. And it's about embracing that holiness within. Right. But there are so many that are really, and I say in many cases, that actually believe that they have met their twin, and they're so fixed on that they're just totally closed, and they don't want to know about anyone, and they suffer so much, where it's really unnecessary, because you could be with anyone, which is in divine union within. Of course, the soul is not interested in just anyone, because it's really, there is a soul monad, there is a divine common purpose for the soul group, for the soul monad, because they come in, they have a common goal, they have a common purpose. Yes. So in that thing, it's not that it doesn't matter who you come together with, because you have a plan, you have a purpose that you have come here to fulfill, right? But it's not,
which is bigger.
You could just put, it's not something that you can just put into one person. That could be, there could be several souls where you could. I really believe that. I mean, the whole 144. On some way or the other, there will be several, and I mean, I have met, let's just say 5 or 6 at least, and I've some on the higher plane, some I've met in the physical. I've met maybe 3 or 4 in the physical, where I've also went in through the divine union, the merging process, and I have really come to understand that we would be presented with all those extensions of ourselves, right?
Incarnated.
Some of them were not incarnated, but at least 3 or 4 that have been incarnated. And after I went through that merging process, I'm just hallelujah. They don't have to be my partner. I don't mind, because he's part of me. I can feel him in my jaw. I can feel him, of course, energetically, but even physically, emotionally, physically, I can feel his presence. He's not to be lost. He was always part of me. I just had to go through that thing to realize that. And after the merging, I've just felt he's just part of my energy field, and I cannot lose it. I cannot lose him.
Yeah.
So we are actually one. So whether I'm going to be in a partnership with him or not, if we're not, then we're not. Then there's something better turning up. You know, I mean,
that's
and
right.
I've integrated. His love is part of who I am. I mean, there's nothing to miss. I can just be joyful about it and say, thank you, thank you, thank you, you know.
And you know, that person, that conscious partner could be simply the first of the 8 billion merges that you'll have, basically. I mean, it's the doorway, something. The other thing that you said too is it's bigger than that. So we got before Morgan left last time, we had a transmission laying in bed, and there was a monad that appeared, and we were told, you come every night, but this is the first time you consciously have come into this.
Okay, the field,
the circle, of this monad, and there was, I want to say there was 24, so it must have been 2, hers and mine.
Yes.
But so what they said was, they said that the last time that you that you were conscious in this circle was about 60 years ago. I'm 57. When we all planned on this particular mission or whatever.
Yeah.
And you two agreed. You were part of the decision, and you two agreed, and you agreed to come down here and fulfill the roles that you have. So it's like you were saying, it's bigger than just. And so I think that's another thing we've kind of got to keep in mind. I'm loving some of these comments, and I just want to go back to them because I want to make sure that we involve everybody. So, you know, again, like you were talking about, there's quite a few people that have experienced this with another soul that's not incarnated at this time, at least. People are talking about walk-ins here. They're talking about, you know, having these experiences with a soul that is not incarnated in the present moment. People talk about having these experiences in their own singularity. And I think that's important. I just want to reiterate that there's more than one way this happens. We can't just try to process this thing or prove it as being true by only the human processing method, the cognitive. It's beyond that. And I think also this frequency is bringing that information, because every time we have really every time we connect, but anytime we've had physical Herios Gamos, sacred sexual intimacy, which is a whole new ball game, right? Every time that's happened, we get a wider awareness. We're giving more coding, more information, higher sensory capabilities of the higher senses and of the 5 senses, and it just keeps expanding. It's like a dose of ascension or a dose of expansion. I don't know how to explain it, but it's not just an experience, a one-off kind of thing. It actually just keeps going.
It keeps going. Yes, exactly. When I had one of the experiences when I had, which was the most powerful one, you know, I was totally just shaken. There was a person there present with me. We were sitting 4 or 5 meters from each other, no touching. There was not even a romantic relationship. There was a very, very deep soul love between us. And you know, when this merging took place, it was just like, as you said, you look into the other one with the other one's eye and you see yourself. And I remember he said, I am you. And I just knew, I just knew it, you know. And it's just like looking at the other one and you see yourself, it's beyond words.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I had my personal experience was that as all these aspects and extensions of self, which the other one was embodying, when they melded into one, and we become into this 144 frequency, I was just like so much expanded, and I I cannot say it other than I just became the Akashic field. You know, I was in that moment. You could have asked me. I could have downloaded the Einstein's relativity theory. I'm telling you.
I believe you.
You became all knowing in that. It's an eternal moment, right? And it's just total. It was just total expansion, and you were so downloaded. It was so much intel, so much information. So I would even say you were just in the Akashic field. You became the Akashic field.
Yeah.
Of course, because you are in the frequency of the 144, and that's all that is, the morphogenetic field, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Where all is available. So, but I mean, this was experience I had with another human being that was incarnated, but I've had after, because I have been in celibacy for 10 years, right? But I've had these few encounters, not being in a relationship, but I have been focusing on my own divine union, and I was not even interested, you know. I mean, I was open, but I wasn't interested in necessarily. I wasn't, because, you know, after my awakening, I was just overspilling joy and love. So why should I look for something? I mean, if somebody turns up, good. And if not, but I was not more in lack. So I was just enjoying it, right?
Right on.
And I had also these, I would just call them cosmic orgasms, you know, right out of the blue, not thinking of someone, not being with someone, you know, just sometimes just lying in bed or sitting with my computer, and they could come out of the blue. Yeah, really. and I also had this experience, as you said, when I was connected on the higher plane stream state with one from my soul monad, and I wasn't thinking of my liar could lie and fantasize. Where I didn't do nothing. I was just lying in my bed, wanted to go to sleep, and then suddenly I just felt his presence, and then I got this huge orgasm, you know, and it was like, wow. And I called him and said, "Do you know about this?" You know, he actually, in his, you know, human self, he didn't know, but he had felt there was something going on, but he was not, he hadn't been, what Joanna, focusing on me or anything. So but soul really feels these things. So whether it's on dream state or not, there are many. I mean, I've also met a lot from the soul monad on the higher realms, where I just, because I've met several now, I just know this signature, this energetical signature of the monad. So you just know that's the monad, right? And we will be presented to many of them on the higher planes, because I mean, they spread all over the place, and many, depending to each of us, but let's say maybe half, or could be 2/3, it could be also be less, will be incarnated now. And then there are many that are not, but they are spread all over the planet. So we meet on the higher planes, we meet in dream time to merge, because it is a merging of all these 144. That's what it is.
And it's I mean, this is
and that's when we can really, and this is the thing, that this monadic field, this monadic energy, it's very much active now. It's really like, because we have come to this stage in human evolution. I mean, we are preparing now, 2020, as I see, that's really the year that we will step into divine service as soul monad, because there are many that have been working for years, fulfilling their purpose, but now we're taking it to the next level. We're taking it to the next level, and that are things to be done. You shall do greater things. You cannot do those things alone. You can do it when you are in the monadic field of the 144, right? You could not be able to do that before. You will not have been able to hold that energy. Yes, each of us hold that within ourselves through embodying all of the self, but at the same time merging with that pure source energy, which, because when you merge with the 144, you can embody the pure source energy. And that's really, that's when miracle starts to take place. I mean, Jesus said, you shall do greater things. Yes, you can perform miracles. You can awaken from the dead. I mean, there's nothing basically that you can't do, right? When we get out of the way. And this is just the next stage in human evolution. Right. And so next year, 2020 is really the year when we will step into this divine service as soul monad. Yes. So that's why many divine counterparts, beloveds, the whole soul monad is coming together now. I mean, of course, those that have prepared, they will really feel it very strongly, but it will happen very fast also to those that are really, I mean, but you have to achieve this divine union within, and you have to have healed. Now I say heal, whether you heal it through whatever modality you choose, whether you can really manage to step beyond your story and just click, you just see, wow, I created, this is a cosmic play. I can see the whole storyline, the storyboard for this incarnation. And I created this I that had to play this role. So either you can see it, and through this divine insight, which actually will always trigger healing, you become one, because you transcend all that, and you just embrace everything as being an aspect of self. Yes, there is nothing that is not of self, that is not of one. It's just expressions, different aspects that is playing out and being shown to you as this mirrors, that we all are to each other.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that 144, because I know when we went up, in the aspect in the 12 that was speaking to us was Morgan and I contained in one essence. It was whatever you would call that. It was us in one body.
Yes.
And so we asked the question, how is this monad related to the one that presented itself first, which was kind of more like at a ground level, the one that said we met 60 years ago, the last time we were conscious in the group was 60 years ago when we planned this. And they said, obviously it's related. This is at another level, but that each one of those 12, including the one that represented both of us, or that was both of us, had their own 12. Okay.
Yes.
They told us that. And then at some point, I don't know if it was that night or if it was another night shortly thereafter, they specifically said to us, do you want to plug in the power of this monad, this 12 at that highest level, with the 12 that are attached to each one of them? Do you want to plug this in now into your circuitry, so to speak? Do you want this assistance and power and support and wisdom and love and all that? And we said, yes, please, So there is something about that, because there's been other times that we've had these experiences, and they obviously give us more coding, give us more information, and it all has to do with the elevation that is occurring to the individual, and in this relationship that's forming this triad, this trinity, in the flesh. And I think one last thing too, I remember the other day her telling me, because she's a transmitter, she gets most of it, I can see it a lot. But they said we had a long one transmission, and then she said, oh, I forgot to tell you, they kept saying you guys are doing an excellent job. So what that told me was, like my higher self told me one time, you know, I know you're learning from me, but I'm learning from you. And I was like, what? You know, but that part of this whole thing, to me, what it's teaching me, what's helping me understand is how big we really are. You know, I looked at the stars last night, and there's been a lot of communication from my end over the last couple of weeks, and it's just like, it's fast tracking. And so last night I looked at Jupiter, which has been very prominent, and what I got was, I basically merged with Jupiter.
Yeah.
I wasn't, you're a star and you're this and you're that and you're bigger than me. Morgan and I we're sitting on the beach late at night having a conversation, and I just looked up and I thought, oh, there's Jupiter, and everything changed. It was like, I'm you, you're me. You know, you're a sentient being, I am too, kind of thing. It was weird. So I think that you know, kind of stuff has been occurring, kind of a fast track thing, as a result of tapping into what you're calling, which is the circuitry of the 144, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, it will keep expanding, you know. And now I think it's so beautiful that that experience that you have with Jupiter. I think it's fantastic, because when you are in that 144 energy, you know, there is no higher or no lower or better thing, and that's the thing. So Jupiter as being this huge cosmic body, and you down in your little human body, but your consciousness is it's the same consciousness in a way, and it's just, you are just having two different forms, right? But both being in this source energy, you know, you're one. That's really beautiful. Yes, I love that. I really love that, Todd. But it's a continual expansion, and yes, and of course we will sometimes be challenged. I mean, I've got many, after all these bombardments of postmans that I wrote lately, there are many messages in my messenger from people that have really confirmed that this is happening.
I believe it.
Of course, there are many that are very, very challenged because they feel now that they cannot, you know, they can no longer go for less.
That's right.
You just can't do it, because the magnetic pull is so strong, and the enhancing energy, that it just doesn't work anymore, with self-denial, complacency of not wanting to leave a relationship there. And that's the thing that I also want to bring up. There is so many still, really many that are still in relationships with someone which they have long known that this is not it, staying out of sometimes out of fear, but even evolved souls that, I mean, they're hardly fearing anymore, but just this holding back, this reluctance of stepping into the unknown, right? Because it is a stepping into the unknown. But the thing is, and then on the other hand, they wonder, why doesn't my life move forwards? I want to move forward. I'm doing everything I can, but I feel stuck. There's somebody blocking me. But that's because if you're blocking yourself, you're standing in your own way. Because if you don't go with the flow and following, the guidance of your soul, I mean, you're being maybe in a wrong energy, in a wrong place geographically, or you're being in a relationship, all these things that doesn't honor you, that your soul plan, your soul purpose cannot be fulfilled as long as you are in that energy or in that relationship or whatever. So you don't have to wonder why things don't move forward.
Yeah.
So and it really takes that we we have to take a leap of faith and then trust our wings and really get into the unknown, and but then just trusting, because I mean this pull, the strong love that you feel in your love in your heart, really just trust it, because this is so strong, and if you just go with that flow and let that inner joy explode, then everything that you'll need, will, I mean, it'll blow open every door. It's just like, then you get the green lights, you'll be in the right place at the right time. New people will come into your life. Maybe you have urge to have a partner in your life, or you will get access to new talents or ideas that, because sometimes maybe you don't know what's my purpose, but all these things will be revealed when you're ready to know them. And that's why it often, that there's no meaning in, and go to psychics or whatever and ask what's my purpose or this and that, if you don't do what you already know what you need to do. If you know you need to leave that relationship you have been playing brother and sister for the last 10 years, sleeping in separate rooms, I know so many people who do that, so many people, and or other people kind of, staying for the children. Yes, we don't want to put harm on our children, but I tell you one thing, the children, they look through everything, they know what's going on, they know you're untruthful to yourself, they know you're not authentic, and they cannot understand that. They cannot understand why are you, and they even, the very open, crystal children and all that, they're very wise, and they have pain because they feel the pain, the continual pain that you inflict on yourself, of lying to yourself, of being denial, of not being truthful to self. They feel that, and that's extremely harmful for them. So even if you say, okay, I will no longer use the children as an excuse, because when you then step out of that relationship, and then eventually you can meet your divine counterpart and you can live in love, that love will help heal the children anyhow, if they should, it's so healing, and they will, it will just open up everything. So of course there will be some part, of them that will be sorry, but it will be much more harmful to them that seeing you continuously harming and self-inflicting pain on yourself and your partner.
It's like self-soul mutilation, and you're right about that. And many of us have done that, including me. And you're bringing up a great point too about because I always try to like simplify everything. Like, what's the one thing I can do, right? Like all this stuff sitting out there. So we got asked to. I feel bad too because I can't think of the name of it. But we got asked by Monica Where? Oh, I'm messing up the name. Anyway, we got asked to go to a 3-day conference in Florida in January. And we were very happy about that. We didn't expect that, but anyway, so they said, would you be interested in, speaking, but also doing the two of you speaking, but also doing a workshop on sacred union? So I was like, Morgan, that sounds pretty cool. Let's, so we're going to do it. Well, I said, well, what is that? It's sacred sex, because that's a totally different thing than where we came from. Then there's sacred union itself. And she said, yeah, but there's another thing, shadow work. Because without doing that, let me put it a different way, with a positive connotation, by doing that, by removing those layers and those things that shroud the illumination of the soul, you're actually drawing in that other partner. to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that to me. For
So
those,
you cannot jumble that step. It just doesn't work, because you know you will attract someone out of lack if you're still feeling unworthy, undeserving of love. It just, you will if somebody will step up, I mean, you wouldn't be able to embrace that love, because you would, it would just immediately make you feel so small and so unworthy. That's what it does, because it brings up all the things in you that is not of love, which is lacking love. That's the shadow. It's just absence of love. And so when love comes, then somebody comes and just love you unconditionally. You can't, you're not ready for it until you have, until you have embraced those aspects of yourself that you have rejected, that you have abandoned. Yes, that
I can speak to that too, you know, because this woman who I met almost 4 years ago always projected that. Always projected this unconditional love. She didn't have to say it. She didn't say it. She just did it. And it was like freaky to me, because I was still processing a lot of shadow that I was unaware of. But she actually had the smarts to say, okay, I'm going to use your love for me kind of like as the tool. Until you develop that love for yourself. And I'm like going, yeah, whatever, you know, but it was true, because it's not so much about for me anyway, it was, and I think a lot of men are like this, is maybe everyone is, but it's not about the giving, you know, it's about the receiving. And the receiving's fucking mind-blowing, you know, because it's this huge, gigantic energy that really does test your worthiness and your self-love and wow. But you know, and I think that's another thing I would point out to people, is that, you know, you're in a relationship, we've all been in relationships where you're just at each other, you know, and there is a strong fire, but it's not supposed to be like that, you know. But I would also say that it's not like, oh my God, you know, everything's just going to be fine now. You know, we found each other, so everything fits perfectly. Well, it does, but it also requires a lot of work, and it's worth it. Because it only gets pure and clear. I would say that, but it's step by step by step by step, just like everything on this trip. Why would it be any different? You know?
Exactly. So, but when all those things are really embraced within self, acknowledged, you know, I mean, it's really about, you know, if you lack, you know, if you don't feel good enough, you know, you have to love that part of you. If you feel guilty about something, you have to be merciful to yourself. You know, you have to give that what is reflected as lack to you. You have to give that to yourself. You know, you have to be a nurturing mother. If you know, if because you felt that you were never seen or whatever, you know, then start, you know, giving yourself attention, nurture yourself, nourish yourself, do something good to you, pamper yourself, you know. So and when all that's achieved and you unite everything within and you come into this divine union, I just want to come back to this monadic energy. You come into this transpersonal love. And I just wanted to bring up another thing about the trine thing, because many that are maybe in Twinflame relationships, you know, that there can still be some very strong coming up, you know, issues like jealousy and stuff. I mean, if they're still in the process of the shadow work, I mean, some they meet when they have already achieved divine union within, but certainly not all are. And so if they are not, but what I'm just wanting to say, that when you have really achieved that divine union within, and when you are the embodiment of the 144, and then this you're ready to merge with soul monad and that trine energy and that third energy, that third embodiment of your soul, if you like, comes in, then I just wanted to make that point now. You know, you are beyond things like jealousy and stuff. It's gone, because when you are each of those in this trine, when they are embodiments of this 144, you know, a divine union, it cannot exist in that energy. It just cannot exist.
No.
So it's just it's unconditional love, and you're just beyond that, and it's really amazing, you know. So I mean, don't get afraid.
That third energy, actually, it is a force. It is a force that is holding the space of the awareness and consciousness that it is. That even when the humans aspects try to, let's say fall back into a pattern momentarily, or say, for instance, in the intimacy, if one or both fall into performance or the old patterns, it will not allow.
No, it will not allow. The moment you see it, it already transforms. Right? Because in a way you have transcended it, but there can still be this kind of residues. We're still in the human body, you know, we can make up ridiculous stories, you know. But the moment we actually see it, because of this high frequency of love, it's just immediately transmuted. It has no space. It has not a chance to exist in this frequency.
But, and you know what? And it's
that's the good news.
It's a whole new world, and everything is parallel, you know. So whether it be the micro of intimacy or the macro of going out into public, like so many of us have had issues with, as our sensitivities heighten, you know, going out into a place where there's a bunch of people. That all I can say is from what I've seen of it, what little I've seen of it, and shared with Morgan, it's fucking sexy, man. It's the shit dizzle. That's all I can say. So, hey, listen, how do you feel about, and you do whatever you want to do, but as we head out the door, how do you feel about connecting or channeling or light language or just whatever you feel, or just having more to say on the subject or any subject you want?
I actually would like to make because I think that's so important now, you know, that we'll actually consciously now connect to our, you know, all of us now, that those that see it now, the ones that will take the replay, that we will now connect into the monadic field, each one of us. And many of us seeing this, of course, we will be connected in one field. Yes. And so that we really can, because this monadic energy, this energy of the 144 is very healing. So we can just ask for, you know, whatever distortions that needs to be cleared, you know, for all the beloveds really to turn up now, to show up now. And it's so important that we really get everything out of the way for those that are still, you know, to move forward. Yes, to move forward, so that all the true beloveds can come together. And it's really good for all of us. So let's just unite now and call upon the soul monad. We all connect with our soul monad from within our hearts. And we are just asking that all distortions, all blockages that may inhibit us in any way to move forward and to follow our heart path, to if we need to move onwards, maybe we need to move, maybe we need to leave a relationship or whatever, but we ask now that will now all be connected into the 144 frequency, which is also the 144 divine qualities of love. So we ask that these energies will now be downloaded and activating all of us and removing all blockages, restrictions, negative energies that needs to give way for this frequency of the 144 to be embodied within every cell of our being. So let's just unite with our soul monad. All the layers being lifted, all layers of separation, they will just now dissolve like dew in the sun. And we're just letting the beautiful temple of the soul from within our heart open, wide open, to let in the frequency of the 144. And this energy is now clearing also the Kundalini channel from all blocks to allow for the activations of all chakras, which will then ignite the high heart chakra, which connect us, which is the seed of the soul. And by the opening of the high heart, we can connect with the heart of the soul monad. And the way is now paved for all to come together now in divine timing. And so that everyone would have their divine plan revealed, and through the soul calling, the calling of the monad, you will know exactly where to be. And it's actually just a matter of being in your heart and fully surrender. So even though you may be urged to do things that your mind will question and doubt, this is exactly when you are on the right path. The more resistance the more that the mind steps in to try to interfere. That's exactly when you are about to break out of the old programming. So just follow that urge from your heart. When you need to do something, when you need to contact somebody or call someone, because it will lead you just to the right space, to the right place at the right time. And just trust that everything will unfold just perfectly. And you just trust and take a leap of faith. Yes.
Man, my lips and tongue and teeth started vibrating. I don't know what was happening. That was beautiful. Thank you. You are a beloved, powerful, supernatural, sexy, divine feminine, goddess, priestess, warrioress, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be walking this soul highway with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, beloved brother. I love you so much, and I am so honored to be with you here and to reach such a great platform of so many beloved soul family. And it's an amazing job that you do, and I'm just amazed how you continue just to show up again and again and again, almost 24/7. It's just amazing. So deepest gratitude to that. And all my love to our soul monad, to our soul family, beyond the beyond, in the physical, wherever you are, you know, step up now, walk in, come on, let's get it together. It's really time that we get together now in the one heart, because we are really urged and called to at this time really to step beyond our small personal stories. Now, you know, it's time really to get into the juicy stuff, you know, speaking about performing miracles, you know, I mean, it's going to be such a joyful, and, you know, we move into this effortlessness, you know, where things can just happen through us. We have been struggling, we have been fighting so long. And now if we just really surrender and really open our heart up fully and just trust, you know, magical things will happen. And as we come together, the many into one, you know, this monadic field, there's just no limitations to what we can do, you know. And it's going to be great fun, you know. And it's really divine joy. This is really this energy when you come into this monadic field. I feel it's a bit like this unconditional love. It's, you know, when you come into divine union, and then it's like the next octave, you know, of divine love. It's just a divine joy, you know. It's just like, you know, it's the seed of creation. It's that energy, you know, when you have the seed breaking through, you know, even beton. You see sometimes in the streets, you know, that a flower comes up or something. This is this, you know, explosion of energy, this ecstasy, divine joy. And that's what we truly are. That's our home band frequency. It's our natural state of being. And also this about the, I mean, when you have come into this divine union and you fulfill this Herios Gamos, I mean, it's pretty, sexy, as you say, and it's also pretty taxing, because you're on the fucking peak all the time, you know, like, so, I mean, but that's our natural state of being. You're just up there, you know, you're just up there, and you don't fall down. It's just, of course, you're going to have a day, you know, whatever, you're tired, you didn't have enough rest or whatever. But that's really the frequency, and from that frequency where everything is possible, you know, this divine joy, you know. So time to celebrate, time to get together and kick some miracles into reality.
You must be doing something, because you haven't cursed the whole show.
Had what?
You haven't cursed. You haven't, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now I just thought now I just have to you.
No, it's okay.
By the end. Yeah.
All right. I'll see you later. I love you. You take care.
And thank you to all of you for connecting. Love you.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Okay. Bye, guys.